Hello and welcome back to the Sentient Sock Puppets. It's been a little while since I made a video, and since then, a lot of things have changed. Like, I have a new chair, I got my 400th game, and I got a car, went to college, and now own a home. In order to ease me back into a schedule of frequent videos, I figured I'd start with a quick video on one of my favorite recent hardware pickups, and that is the Nes Advantage. It's a pretty hefty unit, which is actually good because you don't want it to slip around on a table when you're using it. And it comes with about 3,000 feet of cord. It tries to mimic a classic arcade layout with... what do you call this thing? A joystick. A very clicky, large A and B button. 2 turbo buttons for each button that you can actually change the speed of. Comes with a slow down button, which actually just pauses the game over and over again, which isn't always the best case. Start and select, and the ability to switch between player 1 and 2. It's a pretty easy to find controller. You can find it on eBay for usually about $20 to $25, but I picked it up in a store for about $15. So, how do I like it? Well, let's take a look. So here's a bit of a closer look at the controller itself. Remember how I said it had a 1 and 2 player switch? Well, that works because it has 2 ports at the end of the wire. And as far as I can tell, there's no way to tell which is first and which is second player. So when plugging it into the system, you really just kind of have to plug it in and see which one functions as player 1, which is one little flaw about it. Now I know some of you are saying that this looks pretty familiar. That's because in Ghostbusters 2, the Ghostbusters use one of these controllers to drive the Statue of Liberty around New York. So how does this work with games? Well, I'm about to show you. As you can see for 3D World Runner, it actually works pretty well. But how about some other games? For something like Legend of Zelda, it works okay, but there's really no point in using this over a conventional controller. And then there's some games like Dr. Mario where this makes absolutely no sense to use. Without the precision of a conventional controller, this game is almost impossible to play. And then of course there are those few games where this controller was basically made for it. Particularly arcade home ports. Let's try Dig Dug first. Now I'm gonna be quite honest, I have no idea how to really play Dig Dug too much. It's never something that I played much of. It's pretty gruesome. Whoa! And while I have Xevious on the mind and I have my NES hooked up, let's try some Xevious. So I've noticed that on some games, like this one, when you turn the turbo on, and you turn it all the way up, it sometimes goes so fast that I think what's happening is that the NES can't even handle it, so it just doesn't do anything. So if you're going to use the turbo, you really got to leave it maybe about halfway down and it does this kind of burst fire. So, should you get the NES Advantage? Yes. It's a very sturdy and comfortable controller that can really help you appreciate some of the arcade home... Thank you, train. It's a very sturdy controller that can really help you appreciate some of the arcade home ports on the NES. It's not too expensive and not very hard to find, so if you're an NES collector, I would highly recommend getting this. And because I cannot help myself, let's give it some sort of a score. For sheer product quality, I would have to give it a 10 out of 10. The buttons feel great, I like the bulkiness of it, and it is overall just a nice controller. For functionality, however, is where I would probably give it about a 6 out of 10. It worked great for some games, but if I had to use it on others, I would much rather not play the game at all. I can't really think of what more I would rate it, so let's just give it an overall 9 out of 10. This is a fantastic controller. Like I said before, you should definitely pick this one up if you still have your NES. So with that, thank you so much for watching. I would really like to try and get these videos on a steady schedule like I used to, so let's see what happens. And while our YouTube channel may not have been active for a little bit, our Twitter page has been, so if you want to check that out, I'll leave the link in the description. And like always, if you are tired of hearing about video games, check out the Sentient Sock Puppets YouTube channel so you can see Matey review cartoons and David review movies. With that, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.